set free. But as them always Donegal, it's still a mystery.
Yes. Welcome one and all to the DL debate tonight. What a great DL debate we have in store for us this evening. How could you not be a happy man, a Donegal supporter, after the scenes in Ballybofey yesterday? Epic stuff from our Donegal boys. I know it's only February, we'll not get too carried away. I know it's only 2 points, but listen, brilliant stuff from Jim McGuinness, backroom team, the squad. Listen, it was an unbelievable game, an unbelievable scene there for all Donegal fans. You know, a packed house in Ballybofey for a league game, never seen it before. And of course, you had the return of the Colossus, the man himself, Michael Murphy, as well. And he just, I was texting him there saying, I've been happy if he come on the pitch and maybe get a few touches of the ball, but that's not the Murphy way. Came on, left foot, right foot, kicking frees, winning kickouts. I mean, unbelievable to see him back. Shortly we're going to talk about the game and everything that happened in Division 1 with two men who know their football. Irish News ace columnist Niall Loughran and Armagh great, one of the best pundits out there, Kernan. They're going to be joining us shortly to talk about the game, as I say, and everything else that happened at the weekend. Then we'll speak to Sean Dunnion. He's our Central Council Delegate and Chair of the Organising Committee that's now hosting the the next GA National Congress, going to be held in Donegal Town next week. We're going to speak to Sean, and then we'll speak to Niall Cleary, one of our former county GA hurling stars, on the promotion of hurling in a big night that's coming up, an event in the Encourage Hotel on the 24th, next Monday. That is, we're going to be speaking to Niall later on the show about that. But first, as I say, I'm joined by two men here, Niall Loughran and Aaron Kernan. Are you there, lads?
I'm indeed.
Yep, I'm here.
How's things?
Lads, you're keeping well. Monday. Hey, a lot to digest, even more than ever.
You still celebrating your big win, Brenton, from the other night?
I'm trying to be the voice of reason here, not getting carried away, and I'm sure Aaron can give me reasons why we rolled over the top of Armagh. We'll get into it all. Of course, we're sitting pretty on top of Division 1, and it's interesting. We have two pretty men here joining us. These two boys wouldn't look out of place in Hollywood, I'll tell you. Joe Dex is here producing, another man with a sharp look. He's sporting a nice tash.
Hollywood County Down.
Hollywood, yeah, I think maybe that's the one. Niall, do you know what? Before me and Aaron get into our sides of the equation, you were in neutral there yesterday, of course, covering the game. Just the scenes. You've probably seen a lot in sport for a league game. For the packed house, the drama. We've got all the new rules. The return of Michael Murphy, the sending off.
It was unbelievable.
It was hard to keep up with.
It was and as you say, 13,000 people for a league game in the middle of February, and it takes something special to upstage the All Ireland champions coming to town. But my God, it was just the drama of the whole day, because obviously the rules lend themselves to just that even though Donegal are structured in their style, it's still very end to end. The whole game was very end to end, and then what happened around the 44th minute. Michael, we'd all watched him warming up. Everybody noted that he warmed up, and you saw him going down the tunnel. All eyes were on him, and then word finally came through that he was going to be on the bench, number 22. And this is what everybody'd been waiting for, Brenton. I don't know what it's been like in Donegal, but the last few, I was down at the Dublin game a few weeks ago, and you could tell there was a wee bit of disappointment in there. A lot of people had turned up, because they wanted to be there for Michael Murphy's, return, and it didn't happen. But the anticipation that was going around the place, and just when he started doing a few, he was warming up and running down around the town end of McCool Park, and you could just feel the buzzing. He was like a child waiting to get on. You could see it. He was nearly on the pitch before he was supposed to be, because he was stripped off and ready to go.
Yeah, and listen, we were all a bit like that too, watching him coming on, because such as he's the best player ever played for Donegal. We thought his time was up, and people talk about last year, and particularly the Galway game. What have you had Murphy? Next thing, he's back, and on that, we were hearing. Listen, I'd heard he pulled his hamstring, and I thought, God, is the modern training now, has it pushed him too far? Is this something that's not going to work? Then he comes on and plays the way he does, and Aaron, just from our perspective, I know you're doing analysis involved with Sligo and that as well. The frantic nature of the game, Mo O'Donnell was up with us, and I was saying there about keep an eye on kickouts or different wee things. She was doing some stats for us, but I would always keep an eye on them anyway. I think the game was maybe 17 minutes in before I'd even thought about looking at the kick out. I was trying to get eyes on everything and see where everything was going. It was crazy.
Yeah, it is. I suppose what's happening now is there's just so many contests because practically every kick out now at this stage, or certainly over 70% of them, they're all going long. There's that initial contest in the air, and then more often than not, it's the battle that there is on the ground. And as soon as people are hitting the ground, I think the solo and go has just added to the pace of it. Where you hit the ground, there's a lot of bodies. Inevitably, it's going to be a free, but the players have just all like the solo and go is second nature to them now. Where the first maybe 2 or 3 games that I had seen with Sligo playing, like there wouldn't have been 2 solo and goes in the whole game from both teams, but it's just second nature to players now, and I think that's what adds to the frantic nature of it, where you just find it so hard to get control or to slow down that initial attack. And I think that was, I suppose, obviously not from an Armagh point of view, but I think that was the one that Donegal really sent out a warning again yesterday, was just the pace and the power that they broke with. Now, obviously, it's clear that they have that, but whenever Darren McMullen scores the goal, Armagh then don't score. That's the 9th minute. They don't score for the 39th minute, and Donegal hit 10 in a row. And to me, it was how they were defending, the physicality that they had in their fence, but then they were breaking at pace because they were setting down a marker. There was absolutely no doubt about it. And to be fair to them, it is early in the year, but you can see that they're the standard bearers in the Division 1 as far as I'm concerned. And the likes of Murphy coming back into their squad is just the self-belief that he's going to give to that group and the assurance he'll give to that group. It's just immeasurable.
Immeasurable is right. Listen, I agree. Aaron's mentioned the kickouts there. You know, in the Dublin game, the Kerry game, when the squeeze come on, particularly with Donegal, Langham, I know got injured the last day, but previous to that, you know, Jason McGee would be Donegal's main fetcher out round the middle. So I thought, well, this is my thought, I thought Armagh would really go after Donegal in terms of squeezing up, trying to use, you know, the likes of Creeley and Grimley and them out there, try and use that physical advantage. But Donegal, the majority of the kicks have got away short. And Donegal then were in a position where that forward line, and that, listen, not just the forward line, the whole team is coming at pace at Armagh, and they were just cutting through with ease. Were you surprised at maybe the way Armagh approached the game? I really thought that if Armagh were going to have a chance, they'd have to really come after Donegal and really force them, certainly into long kicks anyway, and make it more of a fight at the middle.
Aye, well, because that's how things kind of panned out against Tyrone, you were probably thinking that was going to be the case, and especially as you said, when there's no Jason McGee there, no Langan, obviously Hughie McFadden wasn't there. You know, that's one thing McGuinness talked about after the match. Like he said, that was the thing that he was, you know, most delighted with, the fact that, like, in the absence of men like that Donegal still managed to, Armagh won their fair share of ball at times around the middle, but they never looked for that kind of control. They never really looked to put Donegal under that mad pressure. And I suppose if you're looking at it from the other side, you know, that there is the concern that if you do that, like, Donegal have so much pace through the lines of what you're leaving yourself open to. But then it's a stick or twist type thing, isn't it? Because, you know, as a result, then Donegal were able to, like, Donegal were nearly happy enough a lot of times to even let Ethan Rafferty come up and you know, hang about and have possession. You know, they just minded the arc, like, you know, better than any team I've seen so far this year. You know, they really you know, covered every base there, and they went at it like their lives depended on it. And Shane O'Donnell kept a wee watch on Rafferty, and they were just always primed to break. And Armagh just, after that first 10-15 minutes, Armagh really looked quite kind of like they'd run out of ideas a bit, which was surprising, because and maybe that's just, Brenton, part of the evolution of things with the new rules, that, you know, we're just going to see wee kind of changes every week, you know, because Armagh, after the Tyrone game, people were kind of lauding the fact that, you know, these new rules were made for Armagh, and this is, you know, how it's going to pan out. Now, you know, that isn't the picture. Now Donegal are flavour of the month, and it's made for them and stuff. But, like, you just sense that we haven't quite got the clear picture yet.
Yeah, everything's evolving, isn't it, Aaron? You know, as Neil was saying, that you're on about those 10 points, Aaron. I thought Rafferty would be much more of a danger coming out, because in the 2 previous games, against Kerry and Dublin. The keepers come out not really with any degree of danger attached to them, you know, but this time it was Rafferty. And in many ways, I thought Donegal played it smart. They never got sucked into it where they got a one-on-one situation where, you know, it was often, maybe it seemed to be Falker that actually would end up with a ball in a, you know, in an area where he's no danger. Donegal would just keep their shape. It would go to Rafferty. They never kind of sucked across and created any element of danger in that. And so Armagh was seemingly not being able to get through. Now, there was a bit of a breeze into the other goals, and Donegal were picking off some unreal scores, but really, you know, there wasn't a lot in it at half time, particularly because of the goal. And then it came back to 2 at the start of the second half. Armagh had the breeze. And at that point, you're thinking, even though Donegal had played some unbelievable football, kicked them 10 points in a row, they hadn't kicked any 2-pointers, they hadn't got a goal. So Armagh were hanging in there, right? And you know, the game was still question marky. I still thought in my heart that Donegal were going to push it on. But, you know, when the sending off came, there was 3 in it at that point. And, I mean, we've seen a lot of things in football, but that was a new one to me. Falker's headbutt on Murphy. I mean, there wasn't much in it, but it goes down as a strike. But a crazy moment from your captain, Aaron. Aaron doesn't want to answer that. That was too controversial.
The line's died at a convenient point there, hasn't it, Brent?
He doesn't want to be drawing at anything. See, he's down in Sligo and he's seeing that he could be managing Falker next season, like, so he doesn't want to give him any stick.
He's doing
I'll let you take that one up, Neil. Obviously,
thanks very much.
You're watching. You're analysing, watching sport all the time. I mean, I'm just thinking, it's a league game in February, right? It's not the time to be laying down a marker. You know, you don't lay down a marker in February with somebody. You know, that happens in Championship if you want to do it. So let's say Armagh are relegated. Let's just say worst case scenario. If they come out and win the Championship, nobody really cares. So, you know,
this is it. I mean, but I suppose in a way, Brent, it is, when you look a bit deeper into it, like, it is maybe a wee bit emblematic of the way things have gone with Armagh and Donegal in recent years. Like, I mean, the game in Letterkenny a couple of years ago was only a league game at the end of the year, but, you know, all hell broke loose for a time at the end of that, you know. And, you know, but the incident itself, like, you know, you're 24 hours on, you're still trying to sort of make sense of it a bit, because and it's just you know, the blood boiling and everything, because at that point, you know, they like, he knows every eye is on, like the two of them know every single eye is on is on them, you know, like, but Falker knows. Like, you can hear the stand, the noise from the crowd. Everybody's looking at Murphy, you know, like, and I don't know if he, just because he wasn't getting much bounce back of Murphy the couple of times he did hop off him, and just a rush of blood to the head, you know. But for, like, such an experienced guy, to do that, it was surprising. It was, like, as you said at the start, you know, I thought I'd seen. You sort of think you've seen it all, like, you know. And I know a lot of people are throwing those Zidane and Materazzi comparisons about today, like, you know. But it's it was just a moment of madness, really. And then it was compounded by Murphy coming on and playing like he was, you know, 19 again, and just skipping around the place, and you know, it just all added to it, like. But it probably is slightly, as I say, emblematic of just that wee kind of renewal of that rivalry between Armagh and Donegal, because I don't think there's anybody would doubt that they're now the two top dogs in Ulster, really, you know. So it's probably not the last that we've seen of this one. Like, it's, you know, this is, there's legs here, definitely, like.
Yeah, I'd say so. You always get a wee bit of feeling with Armagh, only that there is that we want to kind of enforce the game on you, you know. It's not enough to beat you. They seem to want to, you know that you're down, man. They seem to have this thing. It's just in their football. It's just the way they are. You know, they can't help it. But, you know, there has to be that physical side to it. But listen, it's all part of their game. But they seem to always want to do that bit extra with it. But you just mentioned Michael there, and obviously, Neil, there's so many Donegal players played well, right? You could literally start. You could name everybody, right? Obviously, then McBurdy, obviously unreal. And listen, I have an interview there. Talked to him after the match, and it's up on HighlandRadio.com, and I might get a chance to play a bit of it later. But a lot of people don't know he had an operation, you know, pre-season, and he was only back a couple of weeks for Dublin, because the talk in Donegal was, when he didn't start against Dublin, what'll be his role this year, and, you know, age and blah blah blah. So he comes on and he was the difference in Dublin. He plays against Kerry. And then last night, and you think to yourself, there's things you don't know. You know, there's a man that's actually coming a wee bit late in the season, but he was absolutely unbelievable. We talk about the rules, Neil, and who can benefit from them, and all of a sudden players like him that get that bit of extra room that are seen as out and out forwards again. He's not back in his own defence trying to get himself up the pitch. He's in the danger area. He gets the ball. He's ready to go. His energy's up, and he's away.
That's it, because like what the thing about McBurney and what he always, all he ever needed was like 2 or 3 paces, wasn't it? Like to just that wee bit of acceleration to get away. And now with the extra space that's there, because probably his role had changed in recent years, and you were starting to think, he was obviously, being used off the bench a couple of times and stuff, and you were thinking, it was maybe coming to a natural end in some ways, or just a different kind of a role. And then you watched him yesterday, and with the game opening up, and there's so much focus on Gallen, maybe that not saying that Armagh took their eyes off McBurney, but you're looking at him, and a bit like what you said about Murphy too, like you're looking at him going, God, like these guys have got a new lease of life with the new rules, like and again the potential. I don't know what you thought, but because it's early days, but the potential for Murphy in there now, and we've spent a winter speculating about how that might go and what damage he could potentially do, and we got a wee window into it yesterday. Like, and I'm sure for Donegal supporters it must be very exciting. It's exciting to watch. Yesterday, seeing him come on and just that with that. Like that bit of a spring and a step. He looks leaner than I've seen him in years, and just I don't know. It was really it's exciting. Like I don't know what you thought, like because it was very, very exciting to watch as a neutral.
Yeah. Oh, listen, that's what I was saying, Neil. Just keeping an eye on everything. Before maybe we got a wee bit. I'll not say lazy, but in terms of the blanket defence and teams backing off teams, you had so much time to assess what everybody was doing. Now it's like vroom vroom. Who's even marking who? Who's the three is staying back? He's taking a break. He's up. He's down. Yeah. From our team out, and again, everybody played well, but there was a few people I think, Pat again, couldn't do anything with the goal. Kick-outs were top. Van Barrode, he looks like a player's been there all his life. He's just come straight in and he's like ready, and his fitness as well. Every time he passes the ball, he's away. He's gave go. McCall just shuts people down, just plays as well. Mogan's breaking, McHugh's breaking full of pace. As I say, Kieran Thompson's second half was unreal. Conor O'Donnell, there's 2 men there, for example. Conor O'Donnell and Jamie Brennan. Jamie struck in a bit of form there last year. Looks absolutely brilliant again. Kicking points. Conor O'Donnell was injured all last year. He came in just the very end of the season. Like there's 2 boys last year that probably weren't going to be pushing for a team. Obviously one of them been injured, but there's the 2 of them now, could very easily start. So you're adding in McBurney coming back, and you're just thinking from last year we Donegal, people were saying up front maybe we didn't have that extra punch. There's so much more punch coming. Niall O'Donnell come on sub yesterday, and I think there's a lot more to come from Gallen's been, as you said, from his year last year, he really is a marked man. He's still finding pockets in that, but just his final finish. But it's early in the season. Definitely for the quality that he has. I suppose from a Donegal perspective, you don't want everybody fire now. You want to be things to work on.
Donegal are in the perfect position now, Brent. Like with 6 points on the board, and it's the middle of February, and a couple of months now till Derry. And that's I suppose similar to last year in a way. They were well on course for promotion this time last year, and it just even as McGuinness was saying after yesterday, like it allows them to not have to worry about taking risks with players or rushing players into action. Anybody who's got anything going on, they can sit them out, because they're like Division 1 safety's secured, barring a miracle. I think only maybe Cork have gone down on 6 points from recent memory. So like they can afford to kind of run out the rest of the league and really ramp up their preparation, which yourself, like the preparation for Derry will have been, that'll have been at the forefront, I'm sure, through all of this, even with the rules and everything. Like, the championship's always the end goal where Jim's concerned. Like.
Yeah, it is I suppose a strange position to be in around. If you go out, then you obviously have to approach games properly, but you can obviously rest players. But when it comes to it, then you have that thing. I think then if you're a team then that rests a few players, say in the games in the melting pot, you send on the artillery. So you send on McBurdy, you send on Murphy, you send on Gallen. You're kind of then saying here, you know, we meet you in the championship. We've say if you can hold a team, one of their top teams, without those guys, and then send them on, it really would be a psychological thing for Donegal to do in the coming weeks.
It would like, and it's and those are all the things that you know that Jim will be weighing up. You know, I think it's going to be interesting to see actually longer term, and probably come the summer, what way they will do it with Murphy, like whether they do, like obviously he's coming off an injury, like whether they persist with him from the bench, or whether he will be coming in the, from the start eventually, like, you know, what the plan is. I'm still not totally sure what way that's going, because you see somebody like that coming in and the impact he can make, and you can see the value there. But if he's playing well enough, like they're gonna have to start him. But those are things that they'll tease out, you know, by the end of the league. Like McGuinness said a few weeks ago, like he reckons it'll be probably not until the end of the league anyway, the teams really start to get a grip of the rules and everything about it. Like, but you know, watching Donegal so far, like you'd say they're the ones that look the most comfortable, with, you know, in their own skins, in terms of their preparation, everything. They look the most settled. Like I was at the Downmeath game on Saturday night, like, and you can see, like, it was like night and day at times, you know, and there's a lot of teams are struggling for balance, you know, they're struggling to balance the lack of numbers at the back, and trying to make that kind of impact up top. Donegal, from what everybody's seen so far, like they're the ones who look ahead of the pack at this stage. Now, whether that's everybody's talking about, reminding us that Derry won the National League last year, and
good man, Neil. Take us all back down there. The poor Derry listeners say that's coming in here. We'll get to you now in a minute. Aaron, you're back there again, my man. You're back. You could connect it up.
I'm grand. I was listening away. I just muted there for 10 seconds whenever you were in the Forker chat.
Right. That's understandable.
To be fair, okay, here, Aidan will know himself. Like he'll be no more disappointed than himself. The fact that they were back to 2 points before it with the Murnan shot, and then obviously I know McBurdy kicked one to 3 in it, but it's a moment of madness. It's going to cost them obviously plays next week, and I still felt that Donegal were playing the better football. They just looked like they had much more bite about them. They looked like there was much more purpose to what they were doing, but it certainly didn't help whenever you have your leader and a player of his calibre going off the field. So yeah, it was very disappointing. It was disappointing obviously as a result. It was disappointing to get overrun, to concede the 10 points in a row, and then obviously that sending off just will have compounded it. But it's a matter of just parking it and moving on. And I suppose the good thing about it is, for Armagh, just as you mentioned there about the crowds going to, like, that's the one thing I've noticed, and Neil, you know yourself, the crowds that are going to National League games now, it's outrageous, particularly those Division 1 games. Like every single Armagh home National League game now at this stage, it's pretty much sold out continuously. You had the same with Tyrone a couple of weeks ago. And I know a couple of years ago, whenever we had Mayo, Dublin, Kerry, etc., all come to town in Armagh, they're sellouts. So from a playing perspective, there's nothing better to get you going again, you know, to put a disappointing performance behind whenever you know you're going out in front of a packed house and a great atmosphere.
Yeah. Listen, funny, taking you back to Murphy's last game was against your men, Aaron, 3-17-16 in 2022, that qualifier. It's interesting he come back into this game. The change in nature of the world from that game to this one, all that's happened, there's so much. That was his 178th game. Got to be that. Everybody being lauded for their 100th game. Michael now on 178. What a servant. Aaron, just on your men, is there any, I suppose, looking into the season, you know, you look at McBurdy and his points tally and that yesterday, is there a bit of a fear from the forward line misfiring yesterday a wee bit, you know, in terms of, is there an out and out guy in there that's going to get you, you know, that 5, 6, 7 points a game, and then somebody else maybe chipping in with 3 or 4, etc.? Is there a bit of a fear that doesn't seem to be happening at the minute so much?
Well, I suppose after the Galway game, that's sort of what you were thinking, and then they turned it completely on its head the next weekend, and they scored heavily from all across the field. Murnan obviously chipped in with the 1-4, 1-5 in that night. But to be fair, I think Turbot has obviously he's an all-star. He's shown a level of consistency this past few years that he's going to chip in. Yes, he was kept quiet the other night, but Rory Grugan not being there, it changes the whole dynamic of the forward line as well too, because you had an awful lot of grafters and people who are going to work hard. But what Rory does is he calms the whole thing down. He plays with his head up. He picks out simple balls that helps create those, simpler scores, easier scores that you don't have to work as bloody hard for. So he's a big miss. And then obviously, there's no point in saying otherwise. At the moment, you're still missing Rain, and it's unsure of if he'll be back on the panel at all. So that is a huge miss because just clearly the quality that he brings. But if you're playing with good players, it makes life that wee bit easier. Good players take out the best in others. So you are missing a few key personnel there that do make a huge difference in how that forward dynamic, how the forward sort of link play all comes together.
Definitely. We just mentioned the Derrymen there before. Neil, listen, bit unlucky so far in the league. They could be sitting on 4. Crazy game again. The last night, as we've seen me Derry quite a bit. What have you made of Paddy Tally's come on? There's definitely a bit of fight in them. Lachlan Murray coming on, and we're just talking to Aaron there. You need those players who can finish. And he was a big plus point in that. It can't all be down to McGuigan. So maybe it was a big game for Murray and a big point for Derry. Is there a chance there's still, listen, there's nothing in those lower teams in the league. We're sitting down looking at them all, of course, but there's a lot of teams now, listen, Neil, can still get out of trouble.
Yeah, well, they're heading to Dublin on Saturday night, and again, they're one of the teams that when I talk about struggling for balance a wee bit, you can tell, that there's a lot of good in what Derry have done so far, and I saw flashes of it even against Tyrone. You can see the potential in them, but they're finding it hard at the other end. For the forward end of things has kind of gone in and out. Against Tyrone, they were really struggling to make any kind of inroads at all at times. But they seem to be getting a wee bit more fluid. Obviously, you have to remember Tally came in so late to that scene. Everybody probably had a fair bit of time by that stage to even analyse and discuss and have a look at the rules and what way things were going to work out. So they're maybe, he kind of has admitted as much that they're playing catch up to a degree, but I think he'll be heartened enough by the fact that certainly the other night the fight back, and they have shown a bit of and the Kerry game was a real kick in the guts the way that finished out. But there's an awful lot that they can take from that. I just getting the likes of Paddy McGrogan back and stuff now. You would expect that they'll start to firm up. I know those big scores that they're conceding, are not. It's not going to be a permanent fixture, that. But again, that game was just reflective of the kind of seesaw nature of a lot of the games that we're seeing at the minute, and that kind of mad swing between first and second half, depending on the breeze and so forth. The 2 pointers has definitely added a different dimension that way, and I think the jury's still a wee bit out on how good that is, because nobody wants to see any kind of formulas, coming into it either, or not, games kind of going where every game suddenly becomes somebody leading by 9 points and being pegged back in the second half, so. But that's just one of these points that we're probably going to be talking about the whole way through the spring and probably the summer too.
Yeah, and just on that, we'll finish up here shortly. Kerry, Tyrone, Armagh, Mayo, Derry have all mixed it. Different games up and down, or even halves of games. Malka Rourke said short-term pain for long-term gain. One of those lines, Aaron. What do you think of that one? Do you think there's something, an issue in Tyrone here? I know we keep talking about Errigal Kieran boys coming back, but will it take Malachy? We know about the talent they had, but certainly it was a very poor game against Mayo, and a wee bit of experience for Mayo finally coming through and winning a match them. And, you know, while some teams seem to be lighting up the rules a bit, particularly the likes of Donegal and Galway, Dublin at times, it seems to be, you know, we haven't seen the best of these teams at all, like a very low scoring affair. You're just thinking, right, what's going on here with these two sides?
Do you know what it is, Brendan? And we're sort of finding out as well ourselves in Sligo, is that the changes that are made, we, you know yourself, we're all for them, and definitely think they're needed, and definitely think there's so many positives, and they're all based to have more attacking in mind, and more scores and more foot passing. But what I've noticed this past few weeks, and this is where I think Tyrone are one of the teams who are struggling with it, is that even though there's more pace and you think that sort of game is going to suit them, what is absolutely massive now is physicality around the middle and winning dirty ball. And that's where they're struggling. And that's where they struggle against Armagh. And it's where they will struggle, because there's so much ball that's going out now to be contested. And there's rucks of 5-6 men where you need to be unbelievably physical and strong. And if you don't have the stature, you need to bring the drive that Donegal have. And that's obviously been led by McGuinness. And then you're talking about the likes of Galway, who are going really good. Dublin the other night, that's what it was, the physicality. And it was the same with Sligo and Laois yesterday. Completely bullied around the contest in the middle of the field. So while there's loads of good footballers in the Sligo team who are racking up huge scores last year, even whenever there was 15 men captains say to 45, it's just that balance now of you need those tougher, more robust boys around that middle area that then will allow your footballers to go and flourish. Where we probably all thought, just get all your best footballers in the field and these rules are going to suit you. And to me, just my initial reading over the first few weeks is that's actually not the case. And I think Sligo, maybe Tyrone to a certain extent, that's where they're coming up short in those games, because you're just not getting on the ball enough to play the football that you would like to play, or to get it to your marquee forwards, because physically they're just being out-muscled.
Yeah, interesting stuff, Aaron. Everybody's a lot to learn, and listen, it'll all be about championship. The game is going to change again once we hit it, but for now, Niall Loughran of Irish News, Aaron Kernan, I'll be speaking to you Thursday anyway on the smaller fish, and we'll shoot the breeze in.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Talk to you then, man. Bye.
Thanks, lads, much appreciated. Great roundup from the two lads there. After the break, we're going to speak to Central Council Delegate Sean Dunnion as the GAA Annual Congress is coming to Donegal town. We'll speak to you after this.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
With a high digital online skills course, you'll feel a real difference.
I can listen to all the music I like. The bus app that's coming out, it's brilliant.
Anything you want to know, it's at their fingertips.
They're small things, but they mean something.
Learn essential online skills with simple, accessible lessons at highdigital.ie or free phone 1800 20 30 30. Brought to you by Vodafone Foundation and Alone. Vodafone, together we can.
Fick míidna na chulam gachrod on spéir? Well, beag na gachrod. Nor a gótear brosli áirithe, scuiltear trúil an hoxúnacha nach féidir a eáil is just an air. Is minic is cúis le hasma iad, nó le galar nó chinas grom hrúisecha eile. Mar sin, Jane cínte brosli bhag tite a go an gíomhre seo.
Brannig brosli bhag tite agus glanamis an téir de gachtaine, agus náid in dermod de himléir agus darish téh glana uairháin sa bhliain a leid. Ó rialtas na héire.
Being a Garda will change your life. A few years ago, I attended a sudden death incident and had to work with the victim's wife and child. It was traumatic for the family, but you just absorb the trauma yourself. You stay strong so they don't have to. They had no family in Ireland, so when the boy's birthday came around, I organised for Gardaí, Coast Guard and the fire service to drive along the coast where he lived to show that we were all thinking of him in what was a really difficult time. I work in a close-knit community and we look after each other, uniform or not. His birthday matters to me as much as my own. Being a Garda is a really tough job, but it is definitely a job worth doing. You can apply now at publicjobs.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time is 20 to 8, and now I'm delighted to say I'm joined by our Central Council Delegate, and he's the chair of the organising committee as the GAA Annual Congress comes to Donegal town. It's Sean Dunnion. Sean, how are you?
All good, Brendan. Delighted to join you this evening.
Sean, they say Mondays, can be, one of the most depressing days of the week. When me and you were talking earlier, we were far from depressed. If there was a pep in the step, as the man says.
Oh, there was. There's some buzz around the county since yesterday evening, Brendan, and there's a pep in everybody's step, and everybody looking forward now to Galway at the weekend and the rest of the league and the championship. It's great buzz.
Sean, listen, you've seen so much with Donegal football. Have you ever seen a league game with that type of atmosphere and intrigue? It was phenomenal scenes there yesterday. It would have been regardless, and then you had the man himself, Michael Murphy, coming back as well. It was just the atmosphere was electric, and the kids coming out the pitch and all that. It was brilliant.
Oh, it was an incredible occasion. Never saw it for a league game. Some of the biggest championships games over the years is all you could compare against. But seeing the queues at the turnstiles yesterday, an hour and a half before the game even threw in was just absolutely huge. And I was watching the crowds coming across the bridge in particular from the Stranraer side. And I suppose the Armagh and the Donegal supporters were mixing there. It's just a fantastic day, and of course the result made it.
Yeah, and Sean, just one wee thing, and I was talking about this in the 9 till noon show today, because I know that the stewards got a bit of stick for not opening the gates. They were told not to, and I think the Gardaí said then let them in. But it was a bit annoying to hear that people was abusing the stewards who are, coming there and giving up of their time, and they're all the best of people that's involved in that. And people got to understand that if somebody's told not to do something, that's their job not to do it. And it was different circumstances, but I just didn't like to hear of people, giving off to someone who's just trying to do their job.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of it, Brendan, to be honest, but it would be very disappointing to hear, because those cohort of stewards we've had them for a very long time. Yep. And as you say, they come there early on a Sunday. They're at 12:30. They're there till everybody leaves at 6:30 in the evening. So look, they do a very valuable job for us, and we wouldn't like to see them getting abused. And hopefully it's not something that would be a regular occurrence.
No, and as you said, John, they're like the fabric of it. Every time I go up there to do the bit of media stuff, you always have the best of crack with them. Like they love the game, they love Donegal, and as I say, sometimes there's that kind of everything going. Everybody was caught up in emotion, no more than Aidan Fokker, but sure, we've covered that bit already, Sean.
We have indeed. Yeah.
Sean, tell me, the annual Congress, you were just telling me earlier about how this had come about, that you were telling me that it's been 1988 since it was here last. So how come it's coming here now in 2025?
Yeah, in 1988 it was held in Bundoran, and I suppose it's a 3-year cycle, Brendan, usually. The year of the incoming president, the county of that president, like last year, it was hosted by up in Newry by Armagh. On the second year, it's on one of the second years of the cycle, it's held in Croke Park, and then every third year they seek expression of interest from counties. So when the expression of interest came out in August last year, we expressed an interest and we came through the application process then, and we were very happy to accept the Congress for 2025.
Yeah, and was that in the Canal Court? Yeah.
It was in the Canal Court indeed, yeah.
Now, for people wondering about Newry, the connection, Armagh have a big tie-in with Newry, and particularly the Canal Court, because they have fundraisers and everything there. So people will be thinking, how come it was across the road? It's something that the Armagh people seem to use a lot as the Canal Court. But Sean, so listen, it's I suppose it's national profile for us. It's something great to have all the delegates, and we're at such a, I'll not say a serious time, but it's such a record-breaking, groundbreaking time, if you like, of change in the organisation, particularly around football, that, it's great to have the spotlight in Donegal.
It is indeed, yes. Look, it's a brilliant opportunity for us. It's a brilliant opportunity for the county, and I suppose we're working very closely with the County Council in Falch, Ireland, to promote the county. So it's not just about the event on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. We see it as a great opportunity to showcase the county. And there's delegates coming, not alone from all over the country, but all the units across the world are going to be represented here at the weekend, from Europe, Australasia, US, Asia, Canada, Middle East, and New York, to mention a few. So a huge event, over 320 delegates, and then supported by Croke Park staff, the media, over about 450 people come to Donegal town at the weekend.
Yeah, and isn't that amazing, Sean, just when you mention that, the reach of the GAA around the world, and, you know, the connection to Ireland, and how much that backs people up when they're away, between being involved with clubs, helping out with work, and then for us to be part of something now that's all coming back here for the annual Congress. It's an amazing organisation. I know you have people giving off about this and that, but it's an organisation that's very big. It's much bigger than sport. You know, it's just as part of being Irish, and the way it's developed out through the world, it's given us such a connection everywhere to be who we are, to play our games, but also to come together to socialise and, as I say, help with employment, or, you know, no matter what it is, someone there from the GA community, wherever you're at in the world, is going to be there to give you a hand.
Yeah, it is absolutely huge. I just can't recall the exact number of overseas clubs there is now at the moment, but like Thursdays is set aside for World GAA, and that's all the units overseas from those different continents that I mentioned earlier. So there's a whole series of events for them on the Thursday first, and that's about their Irishness, as you said, Brendan, and it's so important to all the diaspora across the world that, you know, that they can get connected with a GAA club, be it in Dubai or Chicago or wherever it is, and then they're still part of the organisation and come to the annual Congress then in February every year. So yeah, a huge organisation across the globe now.
Yeah. And Sean, your own work now in the Central Council as well. Life's busy. You've put in many a year, you know, behind the scenes, working for Donegal and working for the organisation. So for you, with all the contacts you built up in that, it's a brilliant thing to have them back to your home patch and have all these people that you know from all over the world coming in, and, as you said, showcasing Donegal and Donegal town.
Yeah, it is. Well, I suppose it's a great honour for me anyway, especially. This is I'm in my last week as Central Council Delegate. Your own club mate Fergus McGee will take over from me on Saturday. So it was a great opportunity, and it's a great honour to have the Congress come to Donegal as a county first and foremost, but particularly to Donegal town. And I'm particularly happy that we're able to support our sponsor, Liam Clancy and the Abbey Hotel, and the support he has given to Donegal GA over the years has been immense. And it's a little payback to him as well, and hopefully, you know, this will encourage him to stay with us a little longer too.
Yeah, indeed. Good man, Sean. You got to look after the sponsors. Hey, I better give Sister Sara a mention here. And they're great steaks that won on Saturday there. Now we're on it, Sean. Sean, listen, you're a great man. You're a gentleman. It's always great to see you around games. You're always very positive and a great Donegal supporter underneath it all. Thanks very much for joining us this evening. I hope the Congress goes well for you. I
appreciate that, Brendan, and the best luck to yourself as well.
Cheers, Brian. That's great. Sean Dunnion there. Fair play to him. That's a big day coming up in Donegal town. Annual Congress here, as Sean said, people coming in from all over the world. So a man that we have not that far away, he's former hurling star Niall. He is in the middle of a development strategy for hurling in the county, and he's going to join us after this break.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's kitchen, and there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
An bhecinn tú an córa bóthir sin.
Cén ceann?
An ceann bán leis an gghearcail dómh agus cúiglín a thrasnánach agus sa lár. Cad a chilíonn tí sin arís?
Cílíonn sé gur cheartta tomáin ag 60 km san uair nó níos muile.
Cearcail lár?
Ná recinn tú an córa seo tomáin ag 60 km san uair nó níos lú, agus do réir na Moithre agus na Haimsire i gcónaí. Teachtarach do núdarrás am thobháilteacht ar Mhoithre, tar cuairt ar rsa.ie.
This is an important message for all drivers. From March 31st, the law is changing. When you renew or take out motor insurance, you'll need to provide your driver number. It's on your driving licence, listed under point 4D, so make sure you have it to hand. Without your driver number, you won't get insured. Double check that you have your licence, and if you can't find it, take steps to have a valid licence in time for your insurance renewal date. This message is brought to you by Insurance Ireland and the Motor Insurers Bureau of Ireland in support of a Government of Ireland initiative.
Make more meals for less with Dunnes Stores, where you can save on ingredients for a sweet chilli and garlic pork stir fry. That's quick fry pork medallions, just €3. Freshly frozen oriental stir fry vegetables, just €1. And sweet chilli and garlic stir fry sauce, just 65 cents. Served over fluffy rice. All from the Dunnes Stores range. Plus, save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Luxury is not merely seen or heard or even touched. True luxury is experienced. It lies in the minute details that elevate the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's quiet spoken, but leaves a lasting impression. You know it when you feel it. Luxury begins with L. Lexus. Experience amazing. Discover the all-electrified range at Lexus Letterkenny.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yes, folks, welcome back. I just want to say hello to Kieran Brogan listening in there. Seen a great picture of him yesterday, up supporting our lads. A huge Donegal GA supporter as well. I bet you enjoyed that victory. Now we're going to switch our attention to hurling and have Niall Cleary on the line. Niall, how are you, sir?
Hi Brendan, how's the form? How are you keeping? Thanks for having me on.
I'm the very best. Not at all, Niall. Always great to talk. You're a great man to have on there when the season's in flow and analysing hurling for us. And of course, Niall, your love of hurling runs very deep. You're very interested in, shaping the future of hurling, and you're going to be holding some events around the county. You've one coming up next Monday in Kirch.
Yeah, that's it, Brendan. There's going to be a meeting taking place next Monday night, the 24th, on Kirch Hotel over that direction, you over there. So it's just basically, Brendan, this is kind of the first step of something that might come in the pipeline, and it's basically just kind of gathering information, and it's to open it up to the general population in that area to gauge the interest. There seems to be an interest there from people I'm talking to in the areas. And there's hurling going on in these areas already. Like, that's important to mention. There's hurling going on in schools. There's a Gaeltacht coach now, Holly Doherty, and she's doing great work over in the Gaeltacht. And then Manus Friel from St Michael's is doing good work. He's doing dual coaching in my area. So, and the kids are really enjoying it. Like, I'm over in Carrigarth there, Brendan, and started hurling maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and we kind of played our first games last year in competitions, and the kids are absolutely loving it. You know what I mean? Once they can get the skills mastered, they just really enjoying it. So this is kind of just to see and gauge if there's an interest in getting something a bit more structured going in the existing clubs in the west and the northwest, I suppose.
Good man. And now, is it more targeted at the youth then for now, or is it seeing if possibly maybe a club could pitch a team or get a team together between themselves, or who are you kind of aiming at that?
Well, it's basically at the moment, Brendan, aimed at anybody, say from kind of, you're looking over Downings, Milford area, all the way down to Gaeltacht areas in Ardra and Glenties. Like I say, where it's going on in the schools already, and there's teachers in some of the secondary schools that are doing it. But it's I suppose would have to start with underage and getting something going in the underage, because that's what we have at the moment with the teachers in the schools and with the coaches going into the schools. So you would start, that would be definitely the starting block, I think, Brendan, and then with a view to in the future increasing clubs, because like Donegal has 10 clubs maybe, I think, playing adult hurling at the moment, maybe up to 11 or 12 even, but which, if you compare it to other counties that are playing at a similar level, is pretty good. So like hurling in the county is in a strong place at the moment, and even the senior team competing in Division 2 and in the Christie Ring is just amazing. Like, and probably people wouldn't have dreamed of that 10 years ago or 15 years ago, whereas now it's a real possibility, and that they can go and competing at that level, like not just make up numbers kind of thing. So it's just, while things are going so well, Brendan, to strike while the iron's hot, and most importantly, Brendan, I think, like, I'm really passionate about being Irish, and I think some of the amazing things we have in Irish and music and culture and all those things, and sport is a massive part of that. And we're so lucky to have 2 or 3, if you include handball, national sports. And I would love to give more kids a chance, more people a chance to play one of our national sports, which, you know, an ancient sport, which is really, really special to the population. And I just think it'd be brilliant if more people could play it.
Definitely. And so if something comes along there, Niall, is there help with the development? Is there help with coaching? Is there a kind of strategy so someone can
definitely, Brandon. Yeah. Like we've had loads of support from county board level, firstly from Mary Coughlin, and then people like Damien Diver, Declan Bushell, Marty McGrath are all very supportive of this. And there's definitely support in terms of how to go about this, information, expertise, help with coaching. And then I spoke to, there's a new head of hurling, Willie Maher from Tipperary. I spoke to him at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned that there'll be financial supports for clubs in this kind of starting up new clubs, kind of thing like that. So definitely there's lots of different supports available. I suppose that'll be kind of the second step in the process after this meeting, that maybe once we have a greater idea, we can speak to clubs and see what's happening in their clubs at the moment and how we can support them, and if it's something they'd be interested in taking on.
Yeah, and would it be possible now for you guys to come together and maybe have a few sessions, if you got someone that had some interest in the club, that were able to say, right, let's get a couple of, Saturday or Sunday sessions together in clubs, just to kind of test the water, see if we can encourage enough kids or people to get
absolutely,
involved, and then follow
that's a brilliant idea. Like, there's those taster kind of sessions where the coaches come and have the equipment, and parents can bring the kids and just give them that chance of seeing it. And then because it's happening in schools, maybe parents don't see it as much, so it'd be great for them as well to see their kids playing it and see what it's like. So yeah, that's definitely something that's been mentioned at meetings for us. A lot of clubs in Donegal now are taking on a dual sport model. The likes of Burt and McCool's and Kernan there are doing a lot of work in that way, whereas they're doing maybe half an hour football or 40 minutes football, and then 15-20 minutes hurling as well, where parents are not running about every evening of the week. I'm sure you know what that's like, and it's a bit easier for them, and it seems to be working very well from what we're hearing back. Like, if you look nationally, then Brendan, loads of clubs have success in dual sports. Like, we always look at Schlockneil, our neighbours there, and everybody's amazed at what they can do. Nafina in Dublin there this year, I know they're a bigger club, but you go down to places like Lockmore, Castleiney and Tipperary, a very small village, and they're able to compete in Munster level in football and hurling. And it can be done. It definitely can be done. And it'd be great to get more people playing it in that area in Donegal.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. Now, Monday 24th, which is next Monday, and in Kirch Hotel, 7 p.m. Come along, loads of information there, and listen, it's an evening of information. If you have any interest, there's loads of backup and loads of help to be there. And we're just down to the last minute now. Just a word you mentioned on Donegal. Operating Division 2, unlucky in the first game against Meath. Brilliant performance, particularly second half. Blew Tyrone away. Put it up to down as well. So, really holding their own, as you said, heading into a big season in the Christie Ring.
Yeah, definitely. They're competing very well, and that's what they're getting now all the time. They're not going into any of these games you're not worried that they're not going to be able to compete against the likes of Down and Tyrone and Derry. The goals probably cost them against Down, and I'm sure they'll have worked on that. I think they've Kerry this weekend, but it's probably all going to come down to, in the league anyway, it's all going to come down to that last game against Derry, which I give them every chance of winning that game and staying up, which would be brilliant, and will give them a real confidence booster going into that Christie Ring. And I know there's players coming back from injury, and there's lots of different players showing up there. You've Sean Ward the last day against Tyrone, scoring 4 or 5 points from play. You've Oisin Kelly starting games now from Burt consistently. So yeah, the senior team seems to be in a really good place at the moment.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, it's been a great time to be a Donegal fan, as you said, and it's a good time now to kind of, I suppose, use that steps up in Donegal into Christie Ring, into Division 2 to promote the game. So fair play to you. I wish you all the best with it.
Thanks, many Brendan. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Top class there. That's Niall Cleary. I want to thank him and all our guests that contributed to the show this evening. What a great evening it was, reviewing Donegal's victory over Armagh, All-Ireland champions Armagh. What's to come next? Well, first up, it's Galway anyway. Myself and Oisin will be down bringing all the action. Stay tuned for the Monday night sessions. That's coming up now. Joe Dex, thank you for choosing. These boys are mad keen to get in and get the music on. I'll chat to you next week.